Hello my little worms, I'm Dei, and welcome back to Dei Completes Arknights, the series in which I try to actually make progress in the Arknight story, one level at a time. And the level we're attacking today is R8-5, Cold, Only Perceived. The lowest recorded temperatures of the northwestern tundras are sometimes not as bone-chilling as the words of certain individuals. Ooh, fair. And we have Tallulah, and Frostnova's Erignium Ice Crystal periodically releases a frigid wave that will inflict cold on affected enemy units. Good to know. And now it's time to start the level. Mission start! Hui-che. No one would offer the infected any help. We were no volunteer army. We had nothing like the brave walk, I don't know if that's referred, from the age of Mikhail the Huge's. Interesting. We had no city of our own, and we hardly even had fields to heal up. The erignium grows on our skin, and the scant few weapons we hold are stark. The snow in our mouths melts into our water. Our stomachs are filled with grass, seed, and bark. And so they sang. I learned a good few of those in short order. We were just some infected with nowhere to go. I became more and more sure. Coming to the northern tundra first was the right choice. Nothing but people with nowhere to return, and nowhere to go, wherever you went. The infected in the cities, singled out by the common folk. The races of each country, looking on one another with suspicion of their differences. Only out in the tundra do people become a little simpler. I wanted to go back south. But this time, I probably wouldn't be going alone. Infected dying of frostbite and hunger on the tundra is not the same as infected dying of their illness on their own land. The infected should pioneer their own city. If Ursus doesn't allow it, then Ursus itself should be changed. Exile, abdication, leaving the country. In the end, you were still a homeless vagabond. Whenever you told of a place, there we go. So whenever you told of a place that had admit the infected, you were telling a fairy tale. For some reason that line was very difficult for me to say. If the infected wanted to regain their dignity, they needed strength, unity, and a change in the status quo. If we could gain the backing of the infected guerrillas, then maybe this quest of ours would have some chance of success. It was important for the infected to regain their confidence. It was crucial for us to have any sense of meaning in our lives. No doubt about it, it's here. Those patrolmen set up new sentries around the abandoned city. Those black-swaddled, black-shelled vermin, chewing away at the crops, leaving not even a scrap for us. This city's been derelict for over 10 years now. Its core facilities were towed away, and none of its inhabitants stayed behind. The buildings and city plates left might someday be pulled apart and picked clean too. Which noble's turf was this originally? Baron Neva, knifed to death in a riot. Every possible heir of his within 100 kilometers had already been uprooted. Who did it? Sounds vicious. Royalists. The first army had plenty of them. I don't get it. Tallulah, you said a few days ago, right? The Great Rebellion was carried out by the current emperor and the old military noblemen. So why would the army help the emperor kill nobles? The principal force driving the Great Rebellion was the age before it. Those Ursus military nobles who stood to gain everything from Ursus as a pope of relentless outward expansion. After the new emperor ascended, it was natural they'd spit out every city, all the resources, and the entire population they'd swallowed up. At that time, most of Ursus's army was under the direct control of the military nobles, but the royalists were no slow thinkers. One fewer noble meant one less share of the spoils. Then, once they'd disposed of those nobles, the silver made its way back to their pockets. The risk was high, but they had the capital to make that foray. And that's why, during the Great Rebellion, past the cities all saving their own hides, the royalists probably inflicted the biggest losses on the families with a hand in the rebellions. So they say, if it was the actual rebel armies who held the advantage in the Great Rebellion, then the royalist would have been hanged and the emperor placed under house arrest. Consent forced by the prerogative of all those goddamn putrefying nobles littering the military. All the lordly dukes and their armies would have split Ursus up into countless smaller regimes, at least internally. They were sure things would go that way. Aha. And don't forget, back in reality, all those young officers on the rise after the Great Rebellion played out weren't siding with the new emperor. They were probably just siding with the money. I see. At the end of it all, it was still fought for money. It always is. Correct. Ha. You have answers for everything, don't you, Tallulah? The one who taught me all this was so arrogant. He didn't even care how much I took in. I could probably rattle that crap off without even thinking about it. That's enough. God knows you're plenty smart. Why come here then? You already said any place a person could live is long gone. How'd you figure anything out of all their nonsense ramblings these past few days? How'd you figure out the patrol unit would be here? All the villagers in this area were planning to move. If a catastrophe's not coming, then that only leaves one reason. It's the rotten patrolman coming to stay. If it were some army passing through, the villagers wouldn't dare think of moving. It should be because the harvest season just ended. The patrol unit will carry out their routine inspections now, making sure the tax collectors haven't gone into the villages yet. The nearest city still operating is, oh god, how the hell do I pronounce this? Shirayasburg. Sure, it's mainly light industry. It's only stopped over here to procure resources at most. Most villagers in the vicinity don't have a landholder protecting them, so those rotting patrolmen have flocked in from all over. They must have seen things were ripe for the picking. Originally, they were just a ragtag organization of rogues, tracking down the infected. Now they're all old geezers on a rampage who'll stoop to any low. Then let's wipe them out. Our days here will be a lot more peaceful if we do. We should. We don't have the capacity. Huh? So what the hell are we here to do? Aegis. Aegis are attacking the sentries here. Gorillas? Right. Infected gorillas? Damn, man, Emperor above. It isn't easy to make contact with them. We've been pulling up information for 3 whole months, and now we've finally scooped up an opportunity. Didn't care much when you said a few days ago we were looking for another group, but if I'd known you were looking for guerrilla fighters, man. But you have an easy time linking up with the Southern City infected. Is it really that hard to get in touch with these guys? If you want to survive in the city, you need to be proactive about your intel and collaborators. If you want to survive out on the tundra, what you need is solid tactics and a lifestyle that keeps Ursus's spies guessing at all times. The infected have plenty of messengers, and the infected have their own methods and channels to get the signal out. The guerrillas? The guerrillas will only ever talk to the tundra infected. The guerrillas don't want to be found, that's the thing. Neither do they want to join up with anyone. They accept the infected into their own group, and train them to become fighters. They're probably not exactly like I'm hoping, but the guerrillas are still undoubtedly going strong, with no signs of slowing down. At the very least, there's been 2 small guerrilla bands who've exchanged resources with infected settlements 10 kilometers out. Even if the local infected won't talk, it wouldn't have been the army who left those fire pits outside their villages. Okay, here's what they're here to do. Destroy this freshly built sentry outpost, and make sure the patrolmen go down with it. Everyone, sit tight here, be on alert. Patrolmen could be fleeing through these parts. It's a long way out from, oh god again, Shiraziburg. I don't think that's how I said it before, but sure. And the sentries have barely set up. They won't hold out. They'll retreat, as long as they haven't been annihilated by the guerrillas, that is. Hide yourselves. If we run into 2 or 3 patrol unit bands at once, we won't be able to take them. Tallulah, are you going alone? Let me. If we want to make contact with the guerrillas, we'll need to show them we're not hostile. And if we end up skirmishing, you could just as easily escape. Are you treating us like cowards? I've never met people braver than you, and that's why, to your fellow infected compatriots, you are crucial. If they want to be alive down the line, that's all the more reason they need you. Which is the better choice. You live, or we sacrifice more for my sake. It should be pretty obvious. ... You're still looking down on us. I've put in a great deal of thought into this decision, and everyone will be better off by the way. So don't run your mouth. You're just pissed now. Like we're not all burning inside. If you think we don't understand you, newsflash, it feels like you don't bother getting what we think either. Our decision means nothing to us. We came back with you all the way from the northwest, and it wasn't for any decision. You fight well. You let us all eat. You taught us a hell of a lot more than we knew before. I don't understand you well, but as far as I'm concerned, you're different from the city dwellers, or even the infected in the mines. You just don't want us to die, right? Tallulah, look at us. Think we're scared? We're no cowards. Bet it never crossed your mind. Compared to drifting endlessly, we're a hell of a lot more prepared to die with you. What if I told you I saw this coming long ago, and just hoped you wouldn't do it this way? Why? Because I won't die. It's okay. Let me go. Less casualties this way too. Besides, I'm the Deathless. In the words of a repulsive monster. Wait, Tallulah. Like hell we let anyone look down on us. We don't want them to think we're begging for them. Just let us come with you. No. Only executioners rank people by the murder in them. Only executioners rank people by the murder in them? Something about that wording just confused my brain. You've already won respect for the fact that you stepped forward. If anyone looks down on you, that's the one who truly deserves to be scorned. ... Fine. Wait, Tallulah, you're seriously going with just a single sword? A list of names in a book of frequency numbers too. Remember, my friends, these are far more important than my sword. Tallulah regretted it a little. She didn't run into the stomach-dropping terror that was the gorillas. She didn't catch sight of their iconic aegis. She never so much as glimpsed a single worn-out Ursa's armament, nor any of the fabled towering Sarkaz who walked with the gorillas even. For better or for worse, she encountered the Yeti squad, and it was cold. She lit a fire and jumped into the last of the patrol unit's watchtowers, out of the startled, certain gaze of a white-wrapped group of Yetis. Careful the list doesn't burn. It's so cold though. Too cold, she thought. Need to warm this place up a little. And here we are on the level, and apparently we're starting with some dialogue. Yetis, perhaps you don't know me yet, but I'd like to make a request. If you could please not regard me as an enemy right now, would that be okay? I'll repay in kind, I guarantee. I wouldn't even dare to send a single spark your way. If that's still not enough for you, I can stand at the frontmost line. I'll be a vanguard. I won't guard my back.
This isn't some race to piss me off, stranger. The Yeti squad doesn't like fighting dirty. In this battlefield, the patrol units are only enemies. As for you and your questions, we can talk after.
That I may fight alongside the Yetis is a great honor to me.
Our ice crystals won't interfere with you. That doesn't mean an arrow or two of ours won't hit you by chance, stranger.
Any one guarantee far surpasses 1,000 honeyed words, Miss Yeti.
I don't know how much you can actually help us.
Ah, good, I didn't have to do more of that. That voice, very horrible to try to do when my throat is very sore right now. Okay, so we've got this plot to defend here, with no square across here that we can actually put a single unit to block from the things that are coming in right behind me. And then we've got also this one up here. So I'm assuming units are going to be coming through here, going through there, and then coming up there. We're going to have to defend these 3 squares from here, but what do we do about this? We physically can't put anyone on that line whatsoever. That seems very problematic. I guess we'll put Texas up there for DP to begin with, but like this seems very risky. I think immediately like Exia needs to go there. Like that seems like something that we're gonna need to do, because like if any of them get past Tallulah, there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, activate your ability there. I kind of want, I guess, Lapland here. The problem is someone going to get past on here right now? It seems like they're not coming down immediately. That's good. Could be worse. So, all right, that's helpful. And then, do I want... I'm considering this is what I'm currently like thinking. It's like, if I do that, then that's at least also protecting this line too, which is helpful. So I think I'll do that. The only concern right now is the fact that you're coming in now. All right, I'm going to immediately put down you then, because I really want Blaze sitting there, but I don't want to leave that just sitting there. Oh god, you're putting them too? Oh, great, I'm so glad that I put you there like that. Okay, we've got more attacks heading that way. I need, oh god, do I need to activate that? No, alright, we're fine, we're fine. We're fine. Alright, I'm putting you here like this, because we need to be defending this spot. It's just too big of a threat is what I'm immediately seeing. Great, can only be blocked with 2 block or higher. Sure, great. You're only a block 1, so I'm going to immediately get rid of you now then, and put you there. Everyone here is a block 2, so we should be fine from that front. Doesn't mean I'm not still quite worried is the problem here. Okay, is anything coming through here yet? Doesn't seem like it, but I do kind of want a unit up there to do something. Do we need... Probably, yes. We probably need Myrtle for more DP right now, because this is just a little bit of a threat. I'm going to activate your ability to just get rid of these quickly because I'm worried if something else comes down and then we've got to block those at the same time. And God, my throat is just getting worse and worse, isn't it? This is the problem about recording one of these when I've not gone to sleep yet and it's already like midday. Yes, I've been very inefficient with my sleep right now, but I wanted to get this video in because I've missed it like 2 weeks in a row. Though not sure I can get past the next bit of reading after this gameplay bit, since that's like 5,000 words. Uh-oh, I just saw that's coming through there. That is not something I wanted. I wanted to do something about that first. So you're gonna be, yep, here. Okay, get rid of that, put you there. Okay, that's now, should be fine. Nothing went wrong down here during that time, did it? Doesn't look like it. Okay, I think we're good. I'm putting this here and then activating this ability. I need to get rid of some of these guys. There's too many of them coming through. Okay, okay, another one up there. Mudrock should be mostly fine, right? Because like, they require a block 2, so I guess Mudrock can only block one of them because she's not exactly a block 4. So, it'll probably be mostly fine. Also, we've not put a single healer down yet. What am I doing? Yes, I think I'll do that just to make sure I can heal everyone here with you. Up there, it's mostly fine, because like most things aren't going to be attacking Texas there, so the fact that Texas isn't on full health shouldn't be a problem. But watch me ignore that, and then it's going to go very poorly now. Alright, so more coming through here, but at least we've got 2 very strong sniper units that are taking them out, so that's mostly fine. And Tallulah's there too. Is she helping much? Maybe a little. Probably not as much as my units are, but she's there. She's present. She gets a participation medal. Alright, we're getting a little like low on enemy units now, so this should be mostly fine, so I'm going to send really terrifying stuff at us. I'm going to do that again, just to try to get some damage in on those guys in the center. Activate that ability to make it stronger. Okay, not many left. Definitely not many left. Okay, you're down. Is it only these 2 now? Okay. Yes, come on, we can do this. I don't really have anyone else that could currently be hitting them as a problem. Do I want to be getting rid of something to be able to play something down? It's always a worry, isn't it? Okay, get rid of you and place Serta here, just so we can quickly get this. Alright, you finished it anyway, and it's done there. Mission accomplished! It was what left the deepest impression on her current self. What did? It is not specific enough. Be more specific. It was the day her noble life came to an end. Fancy room. Ah, if this isn't cliché again. You're back. ... I thought you weren't fond of that sword. Why carry it on your person? Just may as well. Fair, I suppose. Oh. The smell of mud is stuck to your clothes. No smell of blood, though, nor anything singed. Your maidservant mentioned you were in a rush to meet me, so much so you did not bathe, nor change. Let me hazard a guess. You haven't done anything. Did you find a better way, Tallulah, of dealing with this thorn in our side? You found a better way, and thus did not do as I told you to. Is that it? You didn't just want me to eliminate Major Antonio. You tried to trick me into killing a child. Cachet, a child. Antonio was taking his son on a trip, and you had me frame him so the how do you even pronounce this one? Gendarmerie, sure, maybe, would beat him to death on his way to the next city over. His son would have had no chance of escaping. Antonio makes an art of covering himself. You should easily have been able to tell that the young boy was not his son. I've taught you this. In times when we have greater goals, we cannot avoid making sacrifices in our morality and resources. Given you've let Antonio go, the next time he surfaces may well be in the residence of some Victorian Secret Service official. Those horrid felines would then surely make a fine point of our foul neighbouring cities' shipping routes for the whole year, and take it as a pretense to identify our trading partners, investigate our resources, draw an outline of our import and export itineraries, and produce a clear grasp of our defensive arrangements. I've already destroyed the files. Wonderful! Very well done. You are quite capable, aren't you? But, Tallulah, how do you intend to certify, to at all assert that Antonio had never seen in those records before? If he did not know their contents, why take them with him? And how would you prove that he'd betray your dukedom? Betray Ursus? Why didn't you go to question him? Or seize him? Why go straight to eliminating him? I do not need to give proof. Questioning him would grant him the opportunity to dispute his charges and escape punishment. His conduct cannot be pardoned. If he may have possibly done so, then as far as I'm concerned, as Ursus is concerned, as the laws and decrees are concerned, that is sufficient. He is not allowed to have possibly done so. Antonio has already been dealt with. After you destroyed the files, my scales cleaned up the remainder for you. I knew it. I just knew you wouldn't let him go. I've only been training you ceaselessly so that you may step by step become ever better. Now you see that you have once again failed my expectations. You did not work as well as you did last time, Tallulah. Your performance at the Shuvata conference was outstanding. Tallulah, and you ought to admit too, that you revel in how it feels to stand on a peerless summit. Don't ridicule me. Everything about you only stokes the anger in me to a roar. Then you must surely revel even more in the feeling of perfection. I'm very clear on your misgivings, and I understand how you think too. That is why the scales let that boy acting as his son run free. How about that, Tallulah? That wasn't something out of reach of your lone capability, is it? The boy in question was his son. Was his son. It makes no difference if he wasn't. When that boy comes of age, he'll find you, and he'll take revenge for his father. Then perhaps you should prepare. Prepare for some far-flung moment to take revenge for your own father. Tallulah, the one who killed him, is still alive and well after all. ... I've given you this answer before. You must be sufficiently trained to the point you are capable of personally avenging him. And you currently are not yet so. You can shut up now, Cachet. Accepting that, Tallulah. Accepting that, Tallulah. Accepting your own personal wants, I do have ever higher hopes that you may become an outstanding individual. An executioner, a lead, gendarmerie, a noble officer, a conspirator, a killing machine of a caster. When you say an outstanding individual, is that what you mean? Perhaps. Tallulah, no. I long for an heir. ... I never imagined you'd say something so sickening outright. But, well, I'm sorry, Duke. Your hopes are all fruitless. I can see you've gotten fired up. Tell me then, Tallulah. Tell me something. What is it you've done that is so pleased with yourself? That has you so pleased with yourself? Oops. Half a year ago, I got a hold of a small splinter of Erignium ore, and can you guess what I did with it? I embedded it in my own arm. Oh? With wonderful results. I am infected already. I'm infected now, Duke Cachet. My life is wound short, and your schemes, your plans, your investments, all for naught. You have no way to use me ever again. Everything I am was by your own design, wasn't it? And now, no longer. Truly an unforeseen method. Does it taste good? The flavour of your conspiracy bled dry. Cachet, I've already become what Ursus and the world at large most reviles. We most despicable infected, across the cities, the tundras, the barrens, we most depraved lowly infected. And if your sister saw you like this, would she be happy? Don't you? What is it that made you scheme? Rebel against me so, my daughter? You deceived me, lied to me. You said Wei Yanwu masterminded the murder of my father. You never told me they confronted you together, drove you out of Lungmen. You never told me what role you played in my father's death, even if Wei Yanwu killed him, even if he is guilty, even if he deserves to die for it. You can't escape blame either. On the surface, you treat your subjects well, help with settling the villagers around the city, give the infected stable residence. But in actuality, you have the infected and your residents living entirely different lives. You let the inhabitants feed their own egos on the infected. You've taken the city, plundering its own residents, and embellished it into a duty, to the point that they push around the infected and the nomadic non-dwellers to bring themselves comfort. Is this your dukedom then? Is this your city and your rule? You use inequality to mold a facade, and a facade to expand your influence. I cannot endure this any longer. Even if I didn't fault your hypocritical means and twisted tricks, your pathological lies and false benevolence already had me at wit's end. I've taught you this before, Tallulah. I've taught you, in this period of excessive calm, they cannot accept mutual equal treatment, not unless we draw this period of mediocrity to an end. You and I may accept their autonomy. I need to speak better. Let's try this again. You and I may accept their autonomy, just as the Columbians and Syracusans have, but what of themselves? They will elect their next consul and their next lord, because they do not esteem others. They only fear authority and violence. Not only that, they don't allow for anyone braver than themselves, smarter than themselves, kinder, more merciful, not unless you are their duke or their emperor. You sympathize with them. You sympathize with my subjects. Sympathize with such residents whose backs are forced against the wall by tax collectors and bureaucrats. That is wonderful. Moreover, even if you continue to force yourself to spit vile slurs that humiliate the infected, so I do vaguely recall, you constantly made revisions to my policies in even greater attempts to protect them, so much that you didn't even fear arousing the citizens' wrath. I have spent a great deal of time ironing their moods out, Tallulah. I'm not sympathizing with them. You certainly do love them. Why, I'm very gratified, Tallulah, that you should truly care for them. You've come to resemble me more and more, my daughter. Who the hell gave you the right to keep saying this crap? But your superficial actions will not and cannot succeed. And what makes you think you know what I'm going to do? You don't have the power. No matter, should all people in some desire to reach one single good outcome, those people, as ever, still may fail. Tallulah, it is because that golden outcome of theirs and your daydreams are fundamentally distinct. You have no ability to make differing people endorse some identical action. Their disputes will clash and devolve, and that cannot be avoided. How can a Sarkaz face a Sancta? How can a soul from Kazmaraz face a soul from Ursus? How can a sturdy yet toilsome bear face an arrogant yet impotent hippogriff? Fascinating. You think to let them know how to act. What an arrogant notion, my daughter. You wish to take this appearance and this rank of yours and appeal to them to do something. Ah, of course, this I know. You certainly could do so. Tallulah, in time you will rule those destined to follow you. You have inherited the Black Snake's knowledge. The Red Dragon's blood flows through you. You walk the Bear's land, and you thumb through the Hippogriff's history. No person should be born to be ruled by another. But they crave your rule. For all their lives, they've been awaiting someone like you to rule over them. Ursus may well tremble for you, my daughter. Those who rule others will inevitably rule themselves by the stronger. Cachet. Ah, now that is a concept close to me, Tallulah. Let me give you your final lesson then. Tallulah, we will come to transcend this sort of transient worldly view. The last emperor is dead, yet his shadow is still cast upon these great lands of ours. His will, his force of mind have already passed beyond that era. He inherited the true empire of Ursus, sustains Ursus's flourishing lands, lets the people of Ursus live. Should we lose the sun, the luxuriant branches and stems that Ursus grows will at once wither away, and all that will remain across this world is inferior creatures, even more putrid, sucking the nutrients from each other. These people you have seen, they take pleasure in savagery, widespread slaughter, masochism, and are at once fearful and selfish. You dream of education and ideology to draw them in, enlighten them, but you don't know that they bear not the slightest interest in what you have to say. Tallulah, you deserve to know this. They have survived across this world of ours for countless years, and have become accustomed to a certain deep-rooted way of life. You are merely but a stranger, crashing in on it. so-called rulers, so-called nobles, so-called armies, merely the people of strength, the people lapped in luxury, the people who withstood training. Domains can shift, armies can rebuild, rules can fall to ruin. No rule can endure, except where the voluntary will of Ursus's people follows. They will never be ruled, they only press forth forever. The small charity you make is exchanged for obedience, for unrealistic expectations. And how the hell would you know what they're meant to be? It was Ursus that ravaged them to this point. I am very clear about it. I am all too clear about it. And this is why you think they will go with you. For their bread, their potatoes, their clean water and bonfires. Is this how you would promise them? They will, and then once they starve, their first thought will be to make a meal of your corpse. If you carry such unrealistic fantasies of them, you will hate them. You will surely hate them. Cachet, I am not you. I am nothing whatsoever like you. Yet you are already the same as me. You simply have not been roused from your daydreams yet. In truth, you can and may leverage all you have at hand. If you have some goal, then go. Use terror to destroy terror. Use life to rule life. Use sacrifice to guide sacrifice. Use ignorance to breed ignorance. Use suffering to manufacture suffering. You have learned all of these methods. They are already your arms. All that's left is to learn to make use of them, to get used to them. Until your beloved people understand, in the truest sense of the word, their country and the significance of their existence. I can't even tell what you're spouting all this hell-ridden doctrine for, if anything. All this is facts. All this you will confront. How about this, my daughter? You don't trust me, so I wish to make a wager with you. In these many years, the Orignium arts I have cultivated in you have long since budded. Their time to fruit is already now. In your life to come, you need only raise doubt of all you persist in. You need only raise the slightest hatred of the ones you proclaim your compatriots and those who you think ought to be free. And you will immediately settle this wager between us. It is whether, in that moment, you will walk the path I taught you. Perhaps in these coming years, you will be fortunate enough to avoid those conditions yet. You may, with sheer luck, be living within a fairy tale land. Perhaps the people before you will chance to have secret sorrows. They can be understood, explained. Oh, they were forced into helplessness. I can wait. This country can wait. Be it 3 years, 5 years, a decade, a century. You will only arrive at the same answer. Though you will not live an infected's life for long, I know that day will come. The empire of Ursus finds itself in a period of repeated ailment. Crops will not grow on the soil of the barrens. Soil in shadow can only bear forth flowers of corruption. You may be betrayed by those you adored. You may witness the moments in which your friends die for you. You may realize the expectations you held for the future have lost all meaning. Because all that you do in other people's eyes still cannot make up for the pressure you bring about with your appearance, your status. You will realize it all can be sacrificed. You will realize that they all love themselves more than their neighbors. You will come to know that your proud struggle symbolizes nothing at all. You will come to see these great lands you threw yourself to do not want you. You will see your thoughts, your actions become non-existent. You will see them spurn all you revered, your life, your dignity, and philosophy, void of all significance, because these people, who you suppose to call noble, are but ambling corpses. All I have encountered, you will encounter too. You want me to surrender? No. I truly am using these Orignium arts. This is no deception nor a threat. Oh, that said, my arts are utterly feeble. All I have taught you constitutes the foundations of these arts. These arts, in the moment you reject me, will carry no impact whatsoever. But should you recognize me, should you have understood me, should you realize just the sort of world you're standing in, tick-tock, tick-tock, chime, 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 you will become me. Ursus's future will from then on be in your hands. What are you talking about? What do you mean by all this? Conscious manipulation? Thought suggestion? Have you gone insane? It was you who taught me to withstand these arts. It was you who taught me how to break free from the psyches of Rignium arts. Stop. Why would I use such contemptible, destructive arts on my own heir? My arts only expedited a course for thence, expedited your recognition of this great world of ours. You're questioning yourself, doubting yourself, loathing yourself, and seeing clearly anew your own course. Sans these arts, all this still would have happened. They were just to get you there a little faster. Everyone in the city, living a make-believe normal life, has learned to hypnotize themselves. They are skilled in escaping from the facts, taming themselves with rules and morals, using the lowly shell of the loser to hide just how easily harmed they are by cruel reality. But I have supplied you a set of armor, a sort of arms, and an ego. These can save you, your self-doubt and self-harm, in the course of it all. Save you your distress, your struggle, conserve your time. You will stand up ever faster than you were kicked down by reality, and you will be reborn. You needn't spend too much of your life denying your own self. All I have taught you will once again bear anew within your mind, and you will, as if spinning silk from the cocoon, weave anew the knowledge. You will rid yourself of your superstitions, and in your well-rounded garden of wisdom, find a path winding yet with certain end. Tallulah, Ursus's destiny breathes as one with you. The black snake shall walk with you. This immortal will, I was confused there for a second. This immortal will shall never die. Are you cursing me? Are you trying to use yourself to mold me? No, Tallulah, this is not a curse. This is a blessing. It can be both. I bless you, my daughter. What, did you sneeze? The moment you wake from your unrealistic fancy of human nature, you will be conscious of why we struggle so for this land's most beautiful future. Yan language. Just shut it! You're full of such utter shit! I never taught you such inflammatory Yan vernacular. But it may serve you to learn some. That's the rule you'll be playing soon, after all. Did I say rule instead of roll? There's no question. This reading is hard enough. Just ignore my verbal typos. Ha! Obviously, you didn't let me talk like this in public, so I'd maintain my so-called image. It was to cover you. I calculate so as to make you think of others, but you denounce my proposals, profane my language. You've remembered all I've taught you, and now want to flee, Tallulah. But I'm not worried, because in the end you will come back to this path. The space between people is filled with hatred, and by that hatred they are ruled. Love births hate. Indecision births hate. Admiration births hate. Hatred is the inevitable outcome of interaction. It takes as little as two people to facilitate a sort of rule, unless they are like me, and love all people equally. Will you hate me, Tallulah, for what I have done? This world will do to you, that is all. What you do has nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I'll have no part of it. None. Ah, good. Truly splendid. To not inherit the name, to not harness the authority, to not exploit the position. Wonderful, my child. You have great resolve. Go and establish your cause by your own hand. If you don't wish to inherit my domain and political resources, my wealth and my power, then by all means, you may seize them yourself. That you could do so would still fulfill my greatest dreams. No one told you you could define my aspirations. No, of course. I wouldn't dream of doing so. But know well, no cachet would be willing to accept such a present. To our diligent, prideful selves, it would be an insult. I have already taught you everything I can. As for all your goals from here on, they will be your own. My daughter, you truly are outstanding. You break off from all you've known without a second thought in exchange for a new, novel path. The infected will open up a very different sort of territory for you. Your actions upon this land we call Ursus will be unprecedented. She unsheaths her sword. Shing! I only came face to face with you today for one thing. I didn't think I'd be forced to sit through your wicked venomous sermon. Ah, have I been waiting for this day? I often wondered if Wei Yanwu missed the chance to kill me, and instead would send one of his hands to do it. So it was you. It was always going to be you. To be an executioner for the one who murdered your father, and in place of him, who you bear hatred, to kill who he hates. Oh, what a beautiful outcome. Your slaughter testifies to my point of view. I shall gladly give up resistance, and die by your hand, my daughter. This action will form your bridge towards truth, and allow my death to forge your foundations. I'm not your daughter. I'm not. I'm killing you to put a stop to your evil, once and for all. And then, Tallulah, you will do evil. I've heard enough. And then you will do good, and you will recognize all the good that I did. Ah, this sword. I never had the housekeeper confiscated. I'm not fond of this sword. You use arts much more than you use swords, but you are still allowed to carry it. It will remind you where you came from. A great roar. Ah! And it will witness our path, yours and mine. Do you hate me, Tallulah? I won't be taken in. You rotting putrid snake. You're a villain beyond all else. Your life ends here. Cough. Only the lobe of my lung. Your strike was not accurate. I won't hate you, Kashai. I may hate your endless, long-winded, rancid sophistry, but you yourself haven't earned my hate. I pity you. Your death only testifies to your loneliness, your vain attempt to turn yourself into a mirage. I'll let you know the sheer absurdity of all you, what is this word, espoused. Not that you'd be able to know now. Ha ha, wonderful. With my death, Wei may feel a weight of him too. I look forward to when you bear your regret, your hate. Remember this. Tallulah, remember this. Your end is in me. Tallulah very carefully pulls out the sword from the Duke's chest. Her mind is somewhere far, far away. In a galaxy, apparently. She leaves the Terran castle, leaves the city, outruns her pursuers. The seeds, already planted, waiting only to sprout. And so you came all the way to where we were. All of that was years ago now. After Kashai died, did anything happen in the city? Did you run into any trouble? If anything else happened, I probably wouldn't have ever reached your village. The city. After I left, I heard Kashai's domain and wealth were quickly carved up amongst the Fourth Army. And as far as I go, nobody cares. Who'd care about some city girl? Not when she made herself scarce. I did wander too far, though. I only came to my senses once I was already at the old couple's place. Trust me, back then my brain was the picture of a mess. I can barely even remember what I encountered along the way. Mom said that the day you came, you were bloody, tip to tail. It was half a miracle she could still wash those clothes clean. Did you ever wonder if maybe our village would secretly kill you? Wait, where's this coming from? Well, I'm just guessing. You must have thought of it. You wouldn't do that. Your harvests were good. You just put out the evening dancer's bonfire. You had fenced bird and beast, and decorations hung outside on the walls. Your lives might have been tough, but you still enjoyed how you lived. You wouldn't have killed me. After that, not even the dance would feel right anymore. Who kills someone and stays calm as a lake? Only vicious monsters would, and they're not common at all. Don't you think you're too optimistic about people? I've seen too many bad things. In so many cases, they were done by those without another choice. If they had the choice to make, I know that the vast majority of people across the whole wide world would choose to be good people. And nothing like what Kashai said. He said that all people were disgraceful, that you'd hate them and they're evil in the end, all because you were so kind-hearted. What a horrible curse to want to make. It's about as poisonous as words can get. And that's why I'm sure I'll never hate anyone. Everything they do, everything they do, I was like, was it everyone? No. Everything they do has a reason behind it. Yes. Do you want me to watch over you? Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But what about after I'm gone? You'd have to figure things out on your own then. It's bad luck to be so ominous, you know. We'll always have to confront it. Us little infected, sooner or later, have to make our exits. Taking the little time we have left, and doing something that makes the fact that we live worthwhile. There's nothing bad about that. I think the same way. It might not be easy, Alina. It might not be easy. But I still believe the infected should reunite as one. We should find where we belong again in Ursus. If possible, this world should in turn examine its own deeds. After that, it's not just the infected. Not just the infected. Whether Ursus, Victoria, Lithanian, regardless of country, regardless of race, regardless of your background, we'll steer away all these things that divide us. We should all have lives where we deserve to be equally loved. If someone stands in the way of that life, then we'll take back what's rightfully ours. If you want to do it, you could give it a trial run first. We'd probably be wiped out to the last. Wasn't your first step to challenge Ursus anyway? No matter what we do, it's all a challenge to Ursus. But when we give some, we gain some, despite the fact the return isn't certain to be for us. I can't call to mind things as wicked as you could, but my impression is that things in this world might not be as good as you often suppose. You mean, Tallulah, do you only give so that you can gain? ... Alina, no, that's not right. What you're asking for is to... I know, but you need to think that way. I won't. I definitely won't. I believe all we've done will bear good fruit, and the reason is simple to match. Because they deserve that result. Because the creatures of this world deserve that fruit. Okay, let's go. Are you going to join with the gorillas? I need them to approve of me first. It'll be difficult. It'll take more than difficulty to slow me down. Haha! And now we're back here. Frostnova, here's the person who helped us back there. Oh no.
Keep your bolts knocked.
Phew. You're just like the rumors say. So cold, you Yetis. Cold enough to outstrip this awful winter weather. Are you their commander?
Infected?
Yes.
You need to explain then. Why are you wearing an Ursus military officer's uniform?
I've come up with a lot of lies for that. Any preference?
Fire.
Waits. You just don't do humor, do you? Are you the Yeti Squad's leader?
Why haven't you fired?
She really did just help us now, sister. Promise. It's true, Yetis. I came here to seek assistance, as well as to assist you.
Assist us?
Let's shake on it, Captain Yeti. When conveying sincerity, I always hope to go, the equal and dignified route. I hope we can both have ourselves a dignified, tranquil, level dialogue.
No.
Try it. I think I've pegged who you are. Those iridium crystals they're carrying have your arts, don't they? Heh. If I'm able to melt your ice, would you be willing to hear me out for a bit?
Dream on. You couldn't.
Let's try it. Finally, it's done. God, this level was a beast with its like 8,000 word count. Stop with the really long levels, please. My throat cannot take them. Like, my jaw is hurting after that. Halfway through this, I had to like stop and then come back a couple days later, then continue after the level bit. Because just, God, so many words, so much reading. Just, please, no. Next one be short, please. I really would like a short one. Anyway, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, and why not subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and ring the notification bell. It does something, and I still don't know what. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next level. So for now, goodbye everybody, and arrow, the outro.
I gave that bastard what he deserved. A funeral. Fit for a king.